everybody, this is the Fiery Joker. Finally, we got a good movie after so many crapshoots of just movies that we're either ambivalent to or confused by, or just where horror movies. It's like finally we get a good one, and it's Misery. Ah, that was a good one.
Yep. Stephen King's.
Yeah, it was a good Stephen King one. So, yeah, what are the only Stephen King we've seen? Shawshank Redemption. We've seen It. We've seen Misery. I've seen Green Mile. Have you seen Green Mile? No.
So I mean, kind of a cautionary tale for writers,
or anyone really famous, honestly, because Doug Walker did not exaggerate when he said that this movie is every celebrity's worst nightmare. That is the most apt way to describe this movie.
So, yeah, basically, famous writer gets abducted by his greatest fan, and basically gets a gun figuratively pointed in his face and told, "You need to write a happy ending to your book series."
Yeah, because he said he's famous for this book series called Misery, and the main character is named Misery, which you know, if that's how, I kind of want to see why people like that. But anyways, yeah, and he kind of wants to stop writing this character. He feels like he's done all he can with the character, and he doesn't want to continue with this story. He wants to explore new avenues, so he tries to give her a graceful ending. You know. Dying in childbirth.
A noble death.
Yeah, but that don't sit too well with Annie Wilkes.
No, she finds out what he intends to.
It was the book he just published.
Yes. Well, he actually hadn't published it. He had.
He published it, and that draft that he had was a book that he was already writing.
All right.
Yeah, it was the second book he was already writing. He was having some trouble with it because he was used to writing Misery for so long he couldn't figure out a title for it. Yeah, and he got it off the shelf, and then she was reading it, and boom, and then Misery's dead. She freaks out.
Yep, she freaks out, and well, I'll tell you one thing about Stephen King. He took all of the worst possible characteristics that a human being could possibly have, and yet still consider a fan, and he rolled them all into one character, and really, really quickly, you hate this woman. Really, really quickly, you're terrified of this woman. Like, first time you meet her, it's like, oh, she's sweet.
Yeah, she's very sweet. She's very nice. She's a very nice nurse. She kind of knew what she was doing. As like Jeremy had a couple nitpicks of how she rescued him.
She's definitely not. I mean, yeah. There was some discrepancies about.
But then again, with what comes later, maybe
it makes more sense after you find out how horrible a person she is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, she basically puts him under house arrest and forces him to write a sequel where the character of Misery was never actually dead, guys.
Yeah. Yes. She forces him to write some convoluted, elaborate way for Misery to not actually be dead. He brings her back.
Yeah.
Oh, before forcing him to burn his newest manuscript.
Because she didn't like it. Because God told her to save him and burn it. It's just,
We don't.
No.
And me and Josh have this theory that we think she's talking to someone, but we don't think it's God.
Yeah.
Like, this lady, like, seems disturbed on a level where I don't even say she was possessed. It's disturbing.
It's, yeah. So when she forces him to burn the paper, it's like you could see just the heartbreak on this guy's face. It's like both these two are fantastic actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the heartbreak on this guy's face after he burns it, and I love the way you described it. It was like, that's like asking me to burn my child. Yeah, that's really kind of how it is. It's like you put so much effort into creating this story and world. It is like your baby. And yeah, there's something that you got when you're a creator. It's like, I remember being told this writing advice once: be willing to kill your babies.
That's not how we would have phrased that,
but yeah. But yeah, it's. But not. I don't think he would use it in quite this scenario. I don't think it quite applies in this scenario, but yeah, it's like sometimes. Yeah, but basically, what that phrase means is like sometimes you gotta. It's like you might fall in love with an idea, but it might not exactly pan out. But yeah, and
by the really quickly in this movie, you're wishing, hoping that this lady dies.
Yeah.
And I don't. Very, very rarely do I ever. I'm not. I don't find that feeling comfortable. I don't normally have that feeling towards even fictional characters. I can find some kind of redeeming quality in them, and this woman had...
She was so loathsome.
She had nothing, and it's like, she was... I'll tell you what, who she reminds me of, another fictional character, Umbridge. And the reason why she seems so hateful...
you see a clutch there.
Yeah, Umbridge. The reason why this type of characters are so hateful is because they're believable.
Yeah, it's like when you put it like that, it's like, yeah, she does kind of, she kind of masks that inner darkness with an outward facade of politeness and sweetness.
And she justifies it. She has these excuses, and you can't point out anything about it. She's like, but I already apologized. And it's just like, that's not how that works. And it's like, yes, you can do no wrong. It's like, no, this lady was horrible. It's like, I was like, kill it with fire.
And almost did.
Oh my gosh. And it's like, at that ending.
I'm sure, I'm sure that Kathy Bates is a very sweet woman.
I'm sure.
But I think she acted a little too well. Because there were so many parts where it's just like, like those red flags, like, red flag.
Oh, okay. Like when you first meet her, alright, it's like, okay, she seems like a really nice person.
Maybe a little
odd.
But yeah, I met a couple fans like that.
She's still friendly. Like, yeah, she seemed a little moonstruck, and that's what we felt, and that's what the writer felt. And then first red flag, Grace, you're like, whoa, that was a red flag. And then another one, and it's bigger. It's like this huge banner, and it's bright. It's so crimson that it's dripping blood, and you're like. And then they just start waving, and it's just like, oh gosh, dude, you need to get out.
Yeah, and he's trying so hard to get out, and props to this guy, because I'm noticing a pattern with a lot of these horror movies that writers are always very resourceful. And it's like, you can see, it's like,
well,
okay.
It's kind of, in that sense, by that logic, like, that sense, they're kind of tooting their own horn.
Yeah.
The writer's like, well, a writer in this situation would totally be able to get out of it because he's so creative and able to write in any situation. So...
yeah, it's the same thing with the movie Hush. It's like, oh, she's a writer, so it's totally believable that she would be able to.
And the writer of that movie totally toots his own. Or
oh, it's totally not about me. It's just complete. Yeah, but
still.
Yeah, and we're just giving him grief.
This was it was okay. The movie was like painful and terrifying
in a good way.
In a good way. It was. The name is very appropriate. The name is very appropriate.
But yeah, it was.
So if you want to watch a movie where Dolores Umbridge is the main villain, and you know, let's say she had a if Dolores Umbridge wasn't a wizard and she had a favorite author and she abducted him and tried to get him to rewrite the ending to her favorite novel, and
you know, now I'm kind of imagining Kathy Bates in the role of Dolores Umbridge. I mean, the woman they actually did get for Dolores Umbridge was really good.
Oh no!
Perfect. But now I'm beginning to think
people hate
what?
Do you know that people hated Dolores Umbridge more than they hated Voldemort?
Oh yeah.
You know, but that's because I mean, my theory behind it is the reason why Dolores Umbridge was hated more than Voldemort was because Voldemort is a fictional character. Dolores Umbridge is believable. You can actually imagine someone being like that. You can actually imagine meeting someone like that.
Mm.
I personally haven't met anyone like that, alright? But the character is so simple
and real.
And, like, real, like, not just it's a very realistic villain, and it's the characteristics and tweaks and personality traits are all traits that you've seen in a real person. They've just been dialed to 11.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so, whew.
So I mean, I'd give it a, 4.5 out of 5.
Man, that's a 9 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably have to put that up there too. It's just... Whew, this movie made me so nervous. It's just watching this... She just does the...
The lady just made me so angry.
Yeah.
I don't know why she made me angry.
But, yeah.
I mean, I can touch it. I just don't have words.
Yeah, you maybe just needed to digest a little bit.
Maybe.
Oh gosh.
By the end of this movie, I wanted to beat her head in with a sledgehammer.
Well, you're gonna have to settle for a typewriter. and a statue of a pig.
Dude, spoiler alert.
But yeah. Ooh.
Alright, well,
and I still thought, but one last thing before we end this out, it's like, there's one last thing I thought was interesting at the end.
What?
That he saw that he still hallucinates about Kathy Bates.
He's traumatized.
Yeah, he's traumatized, he still hallucinates about Kathy Bates, but he knows he's hallucinating.
Well, it's not so... I don't think it's so much that he's hallucinating. It's so much his imagination. He's just like... He'll never be able to trust his fans again.
Yeah, and he knows he'll never... But
it's like, I'm your biggest fan. It's like... that's not flattering for you. It's like, I'm your biggest fan. It's like, the last woman that said that to me tried to kill me. You know,
if you were really my biggest fan, you wouldn't say that to my face.
It's like, yeah.
Maybe that nonfiction memoir.
The last woman who said that to me was the most horrible person I'd ever met.
Yeah, you know and how that woman tried to get him to write a nonfiction account of everything. It's like, you know, in order to get people to stop saying that to him, maybe that nonfiction book probably isn't a bad idea. Just saying. Yeah. Then again, it's revisiting that trauma might not be great, but if you keep on getting that trauma revisited by fans telling you that they're their biggest fan and they love your work, it's kind of a pick your poison there. This is such a great movie. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It was good.
Alright, so thank you all for joining us. Have a lovely, lovely day. Take care.
Genre drama? I thought it was horror. Felt horror.
Yeah. So many mislabeled movies, right?